Hey guys, and welcome to a new series on my channel. Recently I asked you guys whether or not you'd be interested in seeing a palette a day series. A couple of you did say you'd be interested in seeing that series testing all of the indie brand eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection, and these are brand new to me. I made it kind of a mission in my personal life to support more independent brands and get more into indie eyeshadow brands. So I have been hauling a bunch. I've got a bunch of different indie brand haul shadow videos on my channel. I think there's 4 installments, and I will be trying to link those in the description box in case you guys are interested in checking them out and you haven't already. But I have 45 palettes that I have not tested, I have not put on my eyes. I have swatched most of these in the haul video, but in these videos I am going to fully swatch all of the palettes before we do one look. Not all of these palettes are still available. I noticed that after hauling them, some of them sell out. That's how indie brand shadows go. But in case some of them do come back in stock, and in case you guys have these palettes in your current collection and are interested in seeing a look, I am going to include all of the palettes that I hauled, regardless of whether or not they are still available. I am just picking the palettes that are really calling to me the day that I come up here to film these videos. And if you are interested in me doing a look with any one of those next, please leave it in the comments below. If you guys aren't currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe. You guys, let's get into it. Welcome back, you guys. So we're gonna do another kind of spooky themed palette. I still have, I would consider 2 more spooky themed palettes to go. And I know we're in almost in the middle of November at this point, but I am trying to work through them. And this palette has some fall vibes to it too, so it's really nice. It's the Micka Beauty Shop, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, and it's not Micka, but it's M-I-C-K-A Beauty Shop, and this is the Simplicity palette. I think I picked this palette up when it was brand new, because on their website it's still listed as new, but it is out of stock. I think this is a smaller indie brand out of Paris, France. They do have some pretty bright and colorful palettes on their website, but because of the cover art of this and that it's like a skeleton hand with flowers, I don't know, it just kind of made me feel of a spooky vibe. And here's the color story. So it's overall got a lot of browns to it with what I would consider like 3 pops of color. So you have like the bright pink or almost lavender shade, the green, oops, wrong way, and then this yellow here. The rest of the palette is pretty neutral. So this palette, I think, kind of takes you into the best of both worlds. I think you can still get a bright look with it, while you can also use this palette every single day. I think this has got to be one of their more neutral palettes that they have on their website. I did pick this up for 55.50 euros, so I think that translates to 59.51 in US dollars. I think that's the conversion there. This palette is actually really cool. I kind of want to show you guys like close up. This has some really nice variety in it. You do get one pretty chunky shimmer, and then these 2, actually 3 right here, 1, 2, and 3 are like glittery shades, which I love the way those translate on the eyes. I would even say that this periwinkle blue down here is also kind of chunky, and then you have a black based shimmer here, which I really like. The only thing that this palette is particularly lacking for me is because it has this black based sparkly shimmer, that it doesn't have a deeper matte in here. I would have liked to have seen like a black matte. That's the only thing, because when I deepen my outer corner, a shade like this might need a deeper black shade. Like this might just not be enough. But as you guys know, we do swatch this out to give ourselves a better idea of what we're looking at, and then we do one look, and I'm pretty sure I know what I want to do today. I did start looking at this palette and went, okay, I think I'm gonna probably end up doing something pretty neutral. Then I was like, no, we may do something different. Now that I'm looking at this Live and Love shade, I think it's a multi-chrome. There's at least one multi-chrome in here, but this one right here, like it's super deliciously chunky. Like every one of these shimmers is calling to me. There's definitely a look in every one of these shimmers that appeals to me. I have one other palette from Micka Beauty Shop. That's the Forever Young palette. I have swatched it, but I haven't tested it. So this is a brand new formula to me of a brand that I've picked up multiple shades. Now that I'm looking at that Live and Love shade, yikes. I might have to do that one. I don't know, every one of these shimmers actually looks really good. This one's a tough one. Usually I'm drawn to 1 or 2 shimmers total, but every one of these shimmers is actually kind of calling to me for a different reason. So let's swatch it out. I start from top left and work my way over and down. Even though this is sold out, it's still listed on the website though under palettes, and it's like the first one at the top, and it's still got like the new sign on it. It does say out of stock, but it's still there. So I'm wondering if it may be restocked at some point, but at least it still gives me the information so I can kind of tell you guys. So it's a 15 pan eyeshadow palette with 9 matte pigmented shades and 6 shimmer shades. The only thing that it talks about is the shimmer description. It doesn't talk about the matte description. So, I mean, your guess is kind of as good as mine. Putting my finger in this matte is like super duper creamy. There's actually quite a bit of kick up that's happening, which doesn't bother me, but it just generally means these shades are going to be a little bit more desaturated. So this first one is called Scent of Youth, and it's like a light, oh, see, that crumbled right on me. It's like a light pink. Yes, very desaturated. In fact, we may get that with the entire palette here because most of these colors are lighter pigmented. I mean, they just look desaturated in the pan overall. Okay, Bergeron, terrible at this, is the next shade, and it's a shimmer, and it's a glittery red with silver particles. And it actually really does translate. That silver is quite nice. Ooh. Ooh, it's smooth and delicious, and you can really see those silver sparkles. Isn't that just like a fun shade? It's really pretty. This next one is that lavender shade in Your Blushing. I probably should have done these swatches a little bit tighter together. That's probably the one of the 3 shades that looks more intensely pigmented, more saturated in the pan. I do love shades like this because I can wear these every single day, and I've worn a lot of these shades all on their own. This is Reincarnation, which is described as a creamy silver champagne. Again, drawn to this shade just because it's like smooth and sparkly and really light reflecting and super impactful. And again, has like an everyday wearable vibe. And I think it's partly because it has somewhat of a base to it. You kind of see the base? That's that really neutral brown base. It's really pretty. I think mostly this is like a neutral matte palette or neutral shades in the mattes. All right, this next one looks like it has little teeny tiny sparkles in it, but it's one of the matte shades in Dry Petals. You can kind of see the little bit of sparkles that it has in it. Once you buff this out though, it's not likely to have a ton of sparkles that actually show up. Look how desaturated that is. This one feels super hard panned though. I'm not picking up a whole lot. It's more creamy than powdery, so that might be the reason why. It's pretty, how will it pick up on a brush? It was really hard to pick up on my finger swatch. Simple is the lightest tan matte in the palette. Really good transition shade. Not a whole lot that's gonna probably show up on my arm or be super impactful. There you go, it does show up. This next one has a delicious sparkly shimmer. It's Twinkle. It's a reddish maroon with multicolor sparkles. This one feels way more chunky. Looks way more chunky too. This one definitely is calling my name as well. Ooh, you guys. Yummy, yummy. I've swatched so many indie brand shadows now, but I still get really enthusiastic about these really beautiful, delicious shades. This one has such a beautiful base, like even better than the other one. What such a fun shimmer to wear. All right, this next one is Breath. It's a lime green in the pan. This one's so much different than the Dry Petals one. It's like really, really loosely packed, and you're getting a lot of like kick up in the pan. So it's very desaturated. I mean, just the pigment itself is very desaturated. It's just such a light kind of lime green shade. All right, we've hit our first duochrome here. So Tender is a duochrome olive shade with gold shifts. The texture is flaky, it says on the website. Thank you for that. This is a shimmer that's a different formula than the other 3. And here's where we're getting some variety. Oh my gosh, what is that? How does that look like what's in the pan? Can I show you guys what I just watched? This is cray cray. That's the one right there, okay? Doesn't look like it would swatch like, ow, like blue. That was not at all what I was expecting. It's a blue gold. Okay, that looks like a black green in the pan, but that's not at all what that is it? No, there it is right there. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, that's why swatching these out. It's like, you don't know what you're gonna get. Life is like a box of chocolates. Oh, don't demonetize me. All right, Revival is a mustardy tan shade, and it is a matte. Look how mustardy that is. Those of you who like mustardy shades, this is nice. I don't exactly know what this would pair with right away. Not anything is like screaming to me. This next shade is like your true tan shade. It's in Art. It's one of the matte shades. Like they go in a gradient now. The last 3 matte shades are like lightest, light, and less light. These take a couple of swatches to really get them on the arms. The brightest thing about this palette is the shimmer shades. All right, this is that Live and Love shade. And this one is the one I was drawn to. It's a strong multi-chrome shade, blue base, and it shifts purple, pink, and green. It's also flaky, but it doesn't like say it like the other one did. Melty butter. So good. So good. There's more blue in here than I thought there was gonna be with those two shimmer shades. Now I'm confused between the two because this is like mermaidy deliciousness and what was calling to me, but now this is also gorgeous. This is delicious. Oh, see, I'm excited. I'm excited for this formula. All right, here is the second to darkest matte. It's also kind of mustardy brown and it's called Sugar. It's like brown sugar. Can you guys hear my son playing VR? It's Saturday. Not that Saturday matters, because that kid genuinely plays VR Monday through Friday. All right, this last, ooh, this is weird. This is a weird shimmer. This last shimmer here is Barefoot. It's a deep creamy black base with silver sparkles, but it's like sticky. It feels super sticky, like a satin kind of. Oh, that's going nowhere. You guys didn't see that swatch, but that went on like glue. It's a really, really tacky shade. It's pretty. And I do love me a black base, and you can really see the gold sparkles. Like, I love when that translates. It's just so deep, it needs a black matte, in my personal opinion. All right, Transhumance, which I don't think that's a real word. I think we're making up stuff now, is the deepest brown in here. See, I just don't know if it would go with that black shade. I really don't. I like how desaturated it is, though, because you can smoke it out really nicely. It's just that that black shimmer just, would you have to wear it all on its own? It's such an interesting color story, having some of the brightest shades in here really being the shimmer shades and not the matte shades. It's so unusual. It's just like a different take on it. Like so many neutral mattes. It's kind of a different color story in my collection. Not that I don't have these as standalones. I definitely have colorful shimmers. I have all different shades. But putting neutrals together with like 3 pops of color and then some really interesting and very different shimmers is kind of a different all-in-one color story for me. Not something I have a ton of. I'm trying to decide if I love that or if I don't. I mean, honestly, only application is really gonna tell me if that's true or not. So let me stare at this for a second. I feel like we're gonna end up going in for this one, but I did think it was gonna pull more green. It's very, very blue, but it looks a lot more teal green in the pan than it does here. That's like a pink, purple, blue shift is what it is, which is weird because there's a couple of blue shimmers and I just don't know where they go with the mattes. So let's get into it. There really is quite a number of options here, but I've been sitting with it for a minute and I think this is what we're gonna do just because of the wonderful ways. Oh, I better quit because I'm gonna get demonetized here. Okay. All right, I think we're gonna take Simple into the crease. I'm gonna do kind of my standard eye look just because I'm so confused about this color story. Like, it could go so many different ways. You could use like this minty green and do some like graphic liner thing. I could go so many different ways with this. I think I'm gonna take Tender. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this freaking Tender shade right here, and I'm not gonna know what to do in the outer corner until I take this Tender shade. I think I wanna take one of like the deeper shades, and I was like thinking originally like, okay, I would use this if I wanted to do something more neutral, and if I wanted to do color, I could do this, but like now I'm just so confused. So let's at least start with something super simple in the crease with the shade Simple, and then let's get that Tender shimmer shade on the lid, and then like see what it comes out as. Cause it's the one duochrome, the multi-chrome is Live and Love. I'm just taking a pretty fluffy brush to kind of go into the crease here. It's basically just a transition. I don't think it's gonna do like too much, and it's not meant to. We want that duochrome as like the primary shade on my lid, I think, and then something in the outer corner just to tie it together. This is kind of just like setting my eye, isn't it? Okay, we can go straight into that Tender shade, and I'm not gonna use any glitter glue, so I'm gonna try and like rub this into the eye like this because it's very, very flaky and we're gonna get a decent amount of fallout, I think. Ooh, you guys would not like this if you don't like a chunky shimmer. Tell you that right now. I'm gonna try and like take it all the way in with my finger, but this is chunky dunky. Yikes, I think you gotta be precise with this. I don't know how cleaning it up is gonna go, I gotta say. That is so interesting. That is like such an interesting shade in my collection, just in general. But boy, it's adding texture to the lid. I'm kind of like scraping it off with my fingernail. It doesn't look anything like what it looks like in the pan. Nothing. Swatching is such a wonder. You might want to do a glitter glue with that. Honestly, I don't know how much it would help because that's a shade you really have to rub in so that it turns out smooth on the lid. Otherwise, it's just kind of flakes. pressed flakes. I do hate though when shimmer gets in my eyelashes. There's nothing I can do to get rid of it. So I'm trying to take this wet wipe and like clean up the lashes a bit. It honestly didn't make as much of a mess as I thought it was going to. Such an interesting shade. I'm actually gonna take a bit of a tighter brush and buff out the edges of this just a bit. I think there is some shadow on this brush. I kind of didn't want that. You know what? Let's take that green minty shade to buff the edges out of this. Uh-oh. There was quite a bit of shadow on this brush, wasn't there? Well, now that we have this brush out, let's use this for the outer corner. These are the two shades I'm considering. Only because they're the two deepest shades, not because they look the best with this shimmer. The shimmer is like pretty, but I mean, it could have handled like a black in the outer corner. You could wear this all on its own too. It has a strong enough base that you could do that. And I could have taken it a little bit higher. I might actually do that. Let me take like a fluffier brush and bring this shimmer just up a bit, since I do want it to be the primary shade of this look, because it does add some like gold sparkles up there, which is really pretty. But this really interesting darker blue base, it's honestly such a weird shade. Cool, but weird. And all of these really do have like a decent base with pretty strong sparkles. I mean, that's what they have in common. Let's do the brown shade. Transhumance, because this actually might come out looking more black, I think. All right, that's it. I brought that shimmer all the way out, kind of just in case too. So I'm slapping this dark brown in the outer corner now. I think I'm gonna use the simple shade and then buff these two together. Now it came out dark. Okay, all right. There's no color here really except the shimmer. Is this at all what I envisioned? This is not at all what I envisioned. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so you can use that shade as kind of like an almost black shade, which makes up for the fact that there isn't a deeper matte shade in here to use with all of these dark shimmers. So I take it back. That brown is browning. But I will say that the shimmer is just not as impactful as I was kind of hoping it was gonna be. Like, it's pretty glittery, but it's not as like duochromy as I was hoping. Should we throw Live and Love on top of it? Like in the inner corner? Yes, we should, because I just did it. Like, does that make a difference? Okay, so I'm gonna slap this on the inner corner on the other side. Well, I will say, because of how desaturated these shades are, I mean, they look smoky with very little blending, which is kind of nice. I kind of like that blue shade like so much better than that other one. That other one didn't come out very blue. Like, this one has such a strong reflect, this multi-chrome. So yes, okay. This again, not at all what I was imagining in my mind, but that's fine. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I mean, I don't mind it, but it is not at all like what I was wanting. So it just got darker than I was hoping for, primarily because I was thinking that the only way I was gonna get like a super dark look was if I had like a deeper shimmer. So let me go finish the rest of my makeup. We'll come back, we'll do the lower lash line, and I think we'll talk final thoughts. Okay, let's do it. We are back. I decided to rock my natural lashes, no falsies today, and I didn't even tightline in the upper waterline. Like, I just felt like this mascara was enough. I layered two mascaras on top of each other. I did the Tower 28 Make Waves mascara, and then I also did Beauty Bay High Key mascara, which I believe they're not shipping to the US anymore. One of you did tell me that. And I am going to tightline like the lower lash line with a brown liner from Catrice. It's the 24-hour Ultra Precision Gel Eye Pencil Waterproof. You guys, I think it's literally just in brown. Oh, they got a little messy on the right side, but I think that's okay because we're gonna go in. I don't even know what color we're gonna go in with on the bottom line. Lower lash line. Should we use dry petals and see how it comes out? And then maybe smoke out with the brown? I think that's what we'll try. That's not terrible. Let's just leave it like that. I think that looks fine. That's such a very desaturated, very fluffy shade. It's not picking up like super pigmented or like a lot on that particular brush. I don't think it's gonna pick up on any brush very well because I was having a hard time on my finger. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna go into the Tower 28 Make Waves mascara for the lower lashes. And I think that's it. Wow, is that not at all what I expected that it was gonna turn out to be? The shimmer's fine. I really enjoy this blue, the Live and Love one, because it was way more impactful. But you guys, this one that's supposed to be green came out completely blue, and it is a duochrome as compared to this one, which is a multi-chrome, so it's not quite as flippy. Overall, very interesting. I didn't think it was gonna come out like this. I didn't at all. I think the shimmers look darker on my lid than they looked on the swatch. And there's just not like a ton of lighter other than neutral shades that you can pair them with where you can get like a predominantly blue look out of it. There's a lot of browns in here. So I think I can probably get a very pinky look if I used this shade and then use the 2 pink mattes. Again, I'm trying to do this in a freaking mirror, so it's like backwards to me. But anyway, you could probably use those 2 shades and get something pretty pink. Oh, even this one right here. And then use it with the red. So I feel like I could do so many different dang things with this. It just did not come out like I thought it was going to at all. I do like me a smoky eye look though. It's like one of my favorites to do. And I think this is still, you know, grungy enough that it's fall-ish themed palette. I do think overall it's mostly fall themed, even though the 2 blue shimmers threw me off. I liked the quality of everything. The way that everything blended together was really nice. I liked how everything smoked out. That's the thing that I noticed the most with this particular palette, is that everything is super desaturated. So everything that you're gonna get is gonna be a smoky look, even with the pinks is what I think. But I'm gonna have some fun with this. I know I'm gonna have some fun with this. This has got some really cool shimmers that I'm gonna roll into every single day. I'm gonna have a ton of fun creating a bunch of different looks with this. I just know it. So for that reason, I'm super excited. I mean, this one is just calling to me. Every time I'm looking at it, it's delicious. It is delicious. Yeah, it's got a lot of things that I look for in palettes. So I'm actually thrilled. I'm thrilled with this. I enjoyed this. This definitely didn't turn out how I thought it was going to, but it was still gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another palette a day video. If you guys aren't currently subscribed, I would love to see you subscribe so you can stick around for more palette a days. You guys, I'm out of here for today, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.